Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Before I Do, the show that should be viewed before saying I do. So whether you are married, dating, don't know if you want to be married or single, we are here to facilitate courageous conversations on dating and relationships.
Yes, and this show tonight, this is our Speak Now, Forever Hold Your Peace. So we don't want you to hold your peace. Ask us a question. You have us here. Questions about dating, questions about marriage, relationships. It doesn't even have to be a romantic relationship. It could be about just friendships. And so we are here for you. So tonight, make sure you pose your question, and we want to interact, engage with you, and just really enjoy this time and this space together.
Absolutely. It's the last Wednesday night of the month, which means it is our Speak Now Q&A night. We are answering your questions regarding dating and relationships. And once again, this month, we've been talking all about secrets, and it has been a really great, productive discussion. We have been getting into it, really covered a lot of ground. I know that, again, I've learned a lot. I learned so much from doing Before I Do, even though I've been married for a number of years. It's very interesting to hear some of the prevalent topics that are going on in dating and relationships. And you know what? I just want to take the time to tell you, for those of you who are single, dating, engaged, in relationships, I salute you, because there is a whole lot to navigate in this day and age. When you factor in the digital component, there's a whole lot to deal with. And so, you know, obviously there are some issues that have obviously been consistent over time. It's just the way that they are addressed are different. But in this day and age, man, I say all the time, I can imagine how tough it is being in the dating and relationship realm and trying to, you know, date and find, you know, individuals that you can build with, that are your equal or complement at least. And so, this type of conversation, as far as with secrets and privacy and the withholding of information, when do you share certain things, when do you not, you know, has really been productive. So what's been your feedback on some of the discussions that we've had this past month?
I mean, I've enjoyed the secrecy, you know, talking about secrets and secrecy and privacy. And I think it's been a great topic of conversation and interest, because there's layers, right? There's times where we want full transparency. And so this full transparency means that there's no privacy, there's no secrets at all. And so we've been able to unpack that. No, sometimes there will be secrets. You know, if your fiance wants to surprise you and propose, that's a secret, right? And so there are good secrets. We grow up, and the culture in which sometimes we've experienced, you know, secrets are not usually given a good reputation. But I've loved this series. If you've missed any shows, go back and watch, because we've definitely broken down and unpacked secrets. And I will say that whether you're dating or in a relationship, you know, to hear that there is a level of privacy that is powerful, right? And because we are in a digital age, I will admit we all have to establish, man, you know, what things do I want to keep for me, right? It's easy to just put all your business out there, right? But when you are pursuing love, when you're pursuing being in relationships, you do have to have a certain level of privacy. You have to maintain a certain level of safeguards and protections for yourself. So, you know, this has been a great show, a great month. And so we want to hear from you. What are your questions tonight? It doesn't have to be about secrets. It doesn't have to be about that particular topic, but we are here tonight. It's our Q&A night. We want you to speak now. Don't hold your peace. And we want you to ask us some relationship questions. What are some things that are going on with you right now that we can support and help you with?
Absolutely. And while we're waiting for those questions to come in too, I think it is really important to also remember that even within a marriage, thinking about what does privacy look like within a marriage, there are some who subscribe to the notion that there is no privacy within the marriage. And so what we say, or what I say to that, is that there is privacy, but those boundaries are known. And so, for example, when I infringe or I go within an area that is, for example, in Charmaine's world, is a part of her individuality, you know, it's almost one of those things like going to grandma's house. Don't touch nothing. You know, you can ask questions, but don't touch. You know, it's understood that, again, there are certain things that she is involved with, and that is specifically for her, as far as to help her maintain her health and wellness as a woman, not just a wife, not just a mother, but as an individual who God has created as an entity. And there are certain things that I have as well that are important for me, that allow me to maintain my individual health and wellness so that I can show up as my best self for my marriage.
I will say that, I will bring up a topic, and we're waiting on you guys to ask us some questions. So we're hanging out with you until you pose some questions. So let us know. But there have been two hot topics for me that have come up this week. One is the use in relationships, right? The use of, with friends. I have heard men. Come on, men. I'm talking about y'all. I've heard men who are married and unmarried say, throughout this week, just different interactions I've had, talk about their friendships. And now they have these friends who are people that they have previously liked, right? So some of the men, they've had a strong like to this woman. They never dated, and they never had any sexual relationships, but they strongly like them. And so they continue to refer to these women as friends, right, to their the spouse that they're committed to. And then there's other situations where you have married men who they keep talking about friends. There are men who have a lot of friendships with like women, right? And maybe they're even more comfortable having friendships with women, but they have had a sexual history or a history of flirting with these individuals and kind of violated a boundary or whatever, but they continue to refer to them as friends, right? But they have partners and spouses who they don't believe that, that these men can have friendships with the opposite sex. And so I just wanted to put that out there for you. This is a question, how do you have a conversation with someone? How do you have a conversation with a male partner? And I'm putting this to you because you're a man.
I understand. Yeah.
How do you have a conversation? How should women have a conversation with their male partner who insists that they have friendships with women who there is a physical attraction there has been flirting, there has been a violation or a breach at some point, or a relationship history or an attraction history? How do you have a conversation with your partner to really say that, look, you really can't have a friendship with these women, or this isn't a realistic friendship with these women because there is history, there's this, there's that? What do you say, and how do you encourage women to frame this conversation?
Sure. So one of the important things to remember is that when you're married, there can be no friends of the individual unless they are friends of the marriage. That's the first thing. So I don't have any friends that are not friends of our marriage. They are not. I don't have individuals in my life that are not advocates for my marriage and for my relationship. And that is something, again, full disclosure, that I had to learn over time. There were individuals who were friends and who I would call even a close associate, that they showed themselves as not necessarily being advocates for the marriage and for the relationship. And eventually those individuals fell off because of the fact that, again, my marriage is of preeminence and is a priority in my life. And so that's the first thing. And that's a red flag. If you have individuals that are friends of individuals of you or your partner that are not friends of the marriage, that's definitely a red flag. Now, if there has been a previous history as far as interactions, especially inappropriate, it is absolutely important to confront that head on. Whether you have to get a mediator, if you want to reach out to us as far as to help facilitate that conversation, it's important to have that discussion, because otherwise that person is a close call threat into the relationship. It's very easy to slip back into, we call that in the spiritual world a familiar spirit, because this is an individual that you've already cross over into an intimate space with. And the bottom line is that your body remembers that, your spirit remembers that, because there's already been a connection where you've already gone there. And it only takes, again, a situation where maybe it's just the two of you and you're having a conversation and your mind starts to go back to that intimate place. So it's very important that you have that conversation and confront the issue head on, and just be honest with the fact that, hey, I am not comfortable with you having a relationship with this person that you have previously been intimate with, and here is why. That is going to be a challenge for me. Now, on the other side of that, one of the things that you have been good at, and one of the things that women,
my business
yes,
out
absolutely,
there,
but it's not just you, it's women in general. And women do this and men hate it, but it is absolutely effective and it is completely true. When you flip it and say, how would you feel if I had someone that I was friends with, that I was previously intimate with? How would you feel if I had a friend of mine that was not an advocate of the relationship? So it's a form of empathy where you put the person in your shoes. As far as if the roles were reversed, how would you feel about that particular situation? And sometimes that can, at the very least, it will expose the hypocrisy of the situation.
The challenge with that, I will say, is the consistent trend of most of these women that I've spoken with this week who have this issue. Their spouses are very friendly, flirty. They claim to have these friendships with these women, even though there have been some boundary breaches, right? But it's one of those things that these women have such a moral discipline, right? They're not going to flirt with other men. They don't entertain that. And so it's almost like it's working against them because their spouse believes that because they have such a high moral compass, oh, well, like, she ain't never gonna have any men friends. So they have this sense of security blanket, right? And it's a little frustrating. And so almost, how would you feel? That conversation, it sometimes doesn't land as well. But I will say this, one thing I've been encouraging the women to do is really don't make it about if I had another male friend, right? Make it about the fact that, first of all, your spouse does need to know that it's a choice. Like, you're attractive too. And let's be honest, it's not hard to find some of that equipment to please you and to provide you satisfaction as well. And sometimes your partner needs to know that. It is a conscious choice I make to be faithful and committed to you and to love you and to serve you. And you need to do better. Your customer service rating right now is not good. You need to do better, and you need to set boundaries when it comes to these women.
Can you ring the bell for that?
I will absolutely.
And to be clear, I'm not ringing the bell because I like it. I'm ringing the bell because it's true. I just want to be clear about that. I am not having her ring the bell because I like it, or because even I agree because it is the truth. I'm just saying, as a man, yeah. But it's hard, but it's right.
Sometimes your man need to know. Yeah. I know you think you got the magic stick, but please know that I got some magic over here too. And I make a conscious choice to be committed to you. And you need to make a conscious choice to make sure you're putting up the safeguards for our relationship.
Absolutely. Nana actually commented, she said, I think if your spouse is uncomfortable with your friend of the opposite sex, then that friendship needs to end and your spouse should always be first. And Nana, I would take that comment a step further and say that if your spouse or your partner is uncomfortable with your friend, even if they're of the same sex, it at least warrants a conversation. Because again, when it comes to gender, you can have individuals that are same gender, but again, they are not advocates and partners for the marriage and for the relationship. And listen, life is hard enough as it is. Marriage is hard enough as it is, as far as with just the different trials and tribulations, rain falling on the just and unjust. You're going to have some challenges even when both of you are purposing to walk in the right way in your marriage. Things are going to happen. And so you want to make sure that you both are in alignment when it comes to having the right voices and the right people in your corner to advocate for you in your marriage. Hey, everybody, we're going to take a really quick break. Don't forget, tonight is our Speak Now Q&A night. So go ahead and get your questions in. We are here to answer your questions on tonight's show, and stay tuned, and we'll be right back with more. Before I do, stay tuned, everybody.
Welcome to the Couples Academy app. The Couples Academy app is your go-to hub for how to do marriage right. Get started with our app today by perusing our amazing features that conveniently allow you to connect. This app is packed with powerful content and resources to help you grow and stay connected. With this app, you can watch our messages, find marriage resources, watch, listen, and read the real-life stories of restored couples, sign up for events, read articles and blog posts, stay up to date with push notifications, share your favorite messages via Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or email, and download messages for offline listening. For more information about the Couples Academy app, go to couplesacademy.org.
Welcome back to Before I Do, everyone. You're tuned into our Speak Now Q&A night. We are here answering your questions, and so be sure to get those in, and we will be sure to address them. And also, we want to make sure that you all are aware, coming up on Saturday, October the 7th, is the Couples Academy Phoenix Awards Gala. It is a night of dinner, dancing, and highlighting excellence in relationships and marriage. If this is going down in Alpharetta, Georgia, please be sure to go to couplesacademy.com, get your tickets. We have ours, and we are going to be there, and we would love to have you join us. Listen,
Yes.
if you are at our table, just know you're going to be laughing all night long. I'm just telling you. Y'all think y'all enjoy Before I Do, get around us in person. We believe in having a good time. It says that a merry heart doeth good like a medicine. And so we love laughing and having a good time. And so being around other couples and celebrating love and life is something we absolutely enjoy doing. So be sure to go to couplesacademy.com, purchase your tickets for the 2023 Phoenix Award Gala going down on Saturday, October the 7th. Yeah. All right. So we are back with our Q&A night. And so we were talking about individuals in relationships as far as their friends.
These friends, you know.
Those quotes is good.
And let me tell you something. I will admit, with some of these conversations this week, that women have posed to me, I have just been shocked, at some of the boundary breaches, and I wish that we, especially as women, that we really would honor each other. Right? Have some respect, right? If somebody's dating someone, and there's this relationship, why is there this need to just really be that person who, this man is married, but I'm just going to put this out there that, to let him know, hey, if you weren't married, I would ... Come on. We know that statements like that, all you're doing is planting a seed to let this gentleman know that, hey, whenever you're ready pretty much to cheat on your wife, I'm right here. Like, why would we do this? I don't know. Where's the sisterhood? That's all I'm asking.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, what I would say is that for men, we have not come to really accept the fact that a lot of the moral violations that we inflict in our relationships is self-sabotage. We will chalk it up as it being a part of who we are as men. But when you violate your morals and your ethics, whether it is within your relationship, whether it's on your job, those things are a part of the way you do everything. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you cheat in a relationship, you'll cheat on the job. If you would be dishonest in one area, then you have the capacity to be dishonest in another area. So again, all of this is self-sabotage. And so the idea is that we want to make sure that we are walking in a righteous place for righteousness' sake alone.
And we need to stop passing down these lies from generation to generation. Oh, he's a man, he can't help himself. Yes, you can.
Absolutely.
Yes, you can. You want to be the head of your household. You want to lead and rule over your wife. You want to be a leader at your job. Well, how about you be a leader of your body? Operate in power and dominion over your flesh.
Ring the bell.
Yeah. I don't receive that. Because again, everything is a choice. You make a choice to step outside of your relationship, whether you're dating in your marriage, you make a choice. I made a choice today. I did not go to the gym.
Just gonna tell.
I'm just gonna tell myself I should have went, but I'm gonna be there tomorrow. Okay. But it's a choice, right? Now, I want to get in shape. I want to get fit. I have to honor and own the fact that my butt did not go to the gym today. It's the same thing with us, right? But we need to stop spreading that lie that men, oh, well, they can't help it. They can't control themselves. It's just like with food, whatever. Own it. Own your body, own your choices, own your decisions. And because you can't change what you won't acknowledge. And that's not mine, that's Dr. Phil. Okay. So acknowledge there's your areas of vulnerability, restructure whatever you need to do to set boundaries for yourself, and own that. Because what people are doing is they don't want to be the leader in the very thing they say you want. You want to be respected and honored in your house, but you can't respect you don't have any morals or values for yourself. You have low expectations for yourself and high expectation for others. That is the definition of selfishness.
And this actually leads into the conversation that we were just having about privacy and secrecy and that self-preservation from an individual standpoint. The bottom line is, as an individual, right? If I'm being encouraged in that way, it helps me to show up in a better and more authentic, genuine way for my relationship. And so this is actually the same thing as far as when you are not doing that, when you're not doing the work and you're not showing up, or you're taking those qualities from the relationship and misapplying them, they show up in your individual life as well. And so when we talk about doing the work as an individual and within a relationship, we were talking offline about this whole idea of guarantees. Even when you are doing the work, as we talked about, there are going to be challenges in your relationship. There are going to be temptations. There are going to be issues that arise, right? And so it's really important that you understand that in a marriage, in a relationship, you are going to go through some difficulties and some hardships. But what has made the difference with us, right, is we both have been committed to our individual relationship with Christ, and we've been committed to our individual growth. I will say that when I've had my challenges, when I've walked through addiction, when I've walked through infidelity, it was the fact that Charmaine knew that, look, this is not who he is, and this is and that is not who I am committed to being. I'm not staying in that place. This is not a behavior that I'm committed to, but this may be a season that I'm walking in, but I was committed to my individual growth. And that was something that was important to her, but it was also important for me to recognize the pain that I was causing within my relationship because of my individual decisions, because of my selfishness. So,
and and let me tell you, it's not easy being a partner, a spouse, dating someone that has an addiction. It's not. It really is not. And one thing that I will encourage you to do, that if you were called to be with this person, and it is a commitment, or you have a covenant because you're married and your partner has an addiction, you really have to take care of yourself. You can't have the caregiver hat on 7 days a week, because at some point you cannot pour from an empty well, right? But when it comes to getting the support, and walking through it, there had to be times where, I definitely had to let him own what he had to own, and I had to own what I had to own. I would be the caregiver at times, but at some points I even he had to do some things on his own. I'm not his savior, right? And in those times, I had to make sure that I was continuing to learn, to care for myself as well, and so that I could be healthy enough to support when I needed to support, and when I needed to back off so that he could build his own stamina and muscle, I had to back off.
And you said something I think it's important to hit on. It wasn't that she let me fall, she let me feel. She didn't let me fall.
Say that again.
She didn't let me fall. She let me feel. And some of us, because we love and care about our partners so much, we are trying to help them, but we're helping them in such a way to where they're not feeling the complete impact of their decision. And so it's not that you're letting them fall, you are letting them feel and own the weight of what it is that they are choosing. And so in those moments, again, know that is what love looks like. And that is what it also means, as you mentioned, to be called to partnering with your spouse or with your significant other. And so that is so critical. And that's one of the reasons why when we do this show, the goal, right, is to make sure that you are picking that you are with the right person for the right reasons. What you don't want to do is to assign yourself to someone that that you were not meant to partner with them in the things that they are walking through. When you are paired with the right person, the things and the challenges that they walk through, you're already graced and equipped for it, is what we believe. You're already graced and equipped for it. So the challenge is you want to make sure that you are partnered and paired up with the right person, because not only are you going to be graced for them, but they're also going to be graced for you.
That's right. And I will say that my husband has loved me, y'all. He supports me and cares for me. And I've had issues in our marriage. I've had trauma from my childhood that surfaced, and challenges, you know, from growing up in foster care, and just some of the things that I went through. I had a lot of emotional trauma, and my husband just he was definitely the right man, graced to love me, to support me through those moments, because I wasn't always a person that verbally expressed what I was going through. And that can be very hard. That can be hard because people just will assume that you have no feelings at all. And it's not that you don't have the feelings. It's really feeling safe and secure that you can express yourself. You can share some of your hurts, and that person will be there to support you.
Absolutely.
And so, so marriage is a wonderful thing to have a life partner. But if you're in the dating process, we absolutely partner with all of our clients to make sure that you are absolutely clear about what you're looking for and what you expect from a potential life partner. Not just dating to have fun. Now, if you're dating to have fun and for entertainment, and that's one thing, right? But if you're looking for your life partner, being very clear about who you are, why you are, and what you want. And so those things can be very powerful.
Absolutely.
I will say, and I know we're kind of coming to a close, so if you have a question, your time is coming to a close. But I will say this, one other thing that popped up in conversation this week that was posed was love insurance. Y'all heard me, love insurance, right? And I'm calling it love insurance because, you know, I was told by someone that they want a guarantee. They've gone through, they're working through their forgiveness process. So there was a breach in a relationship, but they going forward, they want a guarantee. They want their partner to tell them that
I promise this will never happen again. I promise
this will never happen again. And so, you know, so I ask you, what do you think about that? A love insurance, like somebody wants assurances, you know, insurance and assurances and a guarantee essentially that they will not have any breaches in the relationship. What do you think about that?
I think that is misleading. I think, to be perfectly honest, that is setting your partner, and that is not necessarily setting your partner or you or your relationship up for success. Now, to be clear, I am not saying that I'm not going to promise that because I don't know what I'm going to do. That's not the point of what I'm saying. The point of what I'm saying is that if I am committed to my growth, I cannot say that I guarantee this won't happen. What I can promise you is that I am committed every day to this relationship. I am committed to my individual growth. I am committed to learning from my mistakes. I am committed to not going around and repeating the same mistakes over and over again. I'm committed to remaining open in communication. So when it comes to giving you a guarantee about an action, I'm not even focused on the action. I am focusing on my growth, and I'm focusing on my character. And those things will then provide you the insurance that you're looking for. And so without being committed to that, I'm not going to be able to even give that guarantee. But again, giving that guarantee is just me, you know, putting voice to something and giving you a promise that, again, it may not necessarily happen. But I just think that's a dangerous prospect as far as to make that commitment to someone when the emphasis should actually be on the individual committed to growing and learning from their mistakes.
Yeah, you know, I will say that this is one of those things where I usually ask a person, I just want you to reflect, right? What's on your never list? And I'm talking about your never say never list. The list, the very things that you said you would never do. If you audit your history, right? I think when we were younger, the younger you are, you're like, oh, I would never do this. You know, I would never hit an animal with my car, right? But if one accidentally runs out in the road and you can't swerve without hurting yourself and everybody else in the car, there might be a casualty there, right? So I just want you to think about how many times have you said that you would never do something and you breached that, not even intentionally. I would never steal from anyone, but you walked away with that pen. That pen from that regular gas station that you were signing, your credit card or something, and you walked off with the pen. You didn't intentionally choose, but you still stole. Oh, I'm not a thief. I would never steal anything. Well, you stole that pen. So now you really breached what you said. It's not even always conscious that we have breaches in the things that we say. And so a wise person usually knows to never say never.
Yeah, and Charmaine, what I was going to say is what's interesting about it is that usually the person who wants that guarantee, you're calling that on yourself. Because usually what happens is I want this guarantee. Now the pressure of that guarantee is now going to fall on you. And so we have to be very careful about the mandate that we're putting on our spouse or putting on our partner, because we're calling ourselves into account for the same thing as well. And so, yeah, absolutely. We want to hold our partners accountable for making sure they're honoring their vows and their commitment and their word. But also too, again, we want to make sure that they are committing themselves to the right thing. And so rather than being committed to not doing this, what I'm saying is be committed to doing this.
Right.
I'm committed to doing this. And if I'm committed to doing this, it will prevent me from doing the thing that you don't want me to do.
Focus on that positive behavior, that growth piece, because that is going to beget accountability, responsibility, ownership, high expectations for self, right? And so a lot of times with clients like that, I encourage them, first of all, trust yourself. Build trust and confidence for yourself, because what Walter and I, we have our marriage. I mean, we've gone through our healing journey in those areas. But I will tell you this, during that phase where I didn't have the confidence necessarily because my husband was walking through some tough times, where I didn't have confidence in, because he was fragile, right? Where I didn't have confidence in him, I had confidence in myself because I knew my limit. I knew I did not want to turn into the woman that was going to be angry, detective, checking this, checking that, because I knew at some point I would not like myself, or it was not going to turn out well for me or him. And so I knew before I got to that place of not liking who I became because of boundary breaches and stuff like that, I trusted myself enough to walk away. That I was confident enough that I could walk away. I have a choice. Just like my partner has a choice, right? And so I just had to trust myself that, you know what, I'm not going to continue to put myself in a harmful environment that is either going to violate my freedom, violate his life, my life. Like, I'm not going to do that. Violate my parental rights, right? Because I'm acting a fool for it. No, I trust myself. And it is that assurance, that guarantee, that confidence in trusting that I'm going to make the right choices for me. Right? Because that is within my circle of control. I only have influence over my husband. I don't have control, right? Just like he doesn't have control over me. He only has influence. And so that is where I place my trust. That is where I place my confidence during those vulnerable, fragile times in our relationships where, we were going through some hard times. And being focused on those things really supported me in that process. And so if you are a person that you want the guarantee, you want that love insurance, we highly would encourage you to really focus on your circle of control. And so we would love to support you in that process. We are your Couples Academy practitioners. Book us for a session. All right. I work with women one-on-one. Walter work with men one-on-one, and we work with couples. And so, yes, if you want to do some personal work, if you want to do some couple work, if you are dating, not sure if you want to get married, we have a wonderful couples education program for pre-marriage to get you prepared and ready. And yeah.
Absolutely. So be sure to reach out to us at couplesacademy.com. And so listen, thank you all so much for tuning into tonight's Before I Do. We will be back with a whole nother series next month. And so you guys have a great week. Thank y'all for tuning in to Before I Do. Good night, everyone.
Good night.